and tax rates to the ultra rich, while gutting the healthcare and economic lifelines millions of Americans rely on to survive. But Donald Trump and his Republican loyalists will continue to lie about the reality of this bill and the devastating impacts that it will have on our great state and the entire country. So that's why we are here today. We're here to tell the truth that Trump's big, ugly betrayal represents the single largest transfer of wealth from the poorest Americans to the richest. While Republicans love to say that this bill helps working families and small businesses, the numbers tell the truth. The average person earning less than $50,000 would just get 68 cents a day in tax cuts, while billionaires like Donald Trump in the top 0.1% will get over $300,000 a year. That's not relief, that's robbery. Yes. Robbery. And although Republicans came here to try to persuade us that their big ugly betrayal is good for small business, it will actually devastate them. That's because we know that nationwide, almost half of all working Medicaid recipients are employed by a small business with less than 50 employees. So when Republicans say that their big ugly betrayal will be good for small businesses, we know it can't be further from the truth. On top of that, this despicable bill also represents the largest amount of funding that Congress has ever provided to the federal government for the purposes of immigration enforcement. To all of us in Southern California, this is personal because we've seen what Republicans' mass deportation agenda has done to our communities.
Yes.
Masked ICE agents refusing to show ID, kidnapping people on the streets, ripping families apart, and terrorizing entire neighborhoods. It's truly vile that while Donald Trump's mass ICE raids are forcing both immigrants and U.S. citizens alike to be too fearful to leave their homes, show up to work, or even step outside, Republicans have flown all the way to our state to lie about what their disastrous bill will do to our workers and businesses. All of this comes at a devastating cost, the greatest loss of healthcare in American history. Yes, 15 million Americans will be kicked off their health insurance for no other reason than to hand out $5 trillion in tax cuts to make millionaires into billionaires. Shame. And I want to tell you that just in January, 6 months from now, Affordable Care Act premiums will spike. People will lose their subsidy. And so they will have to pay an average of 75% more. Healthy people might drop their coverage just because it costs too much, because the Republican bill eliminates those tax credits. And then there will be the cruel Medicaid paperwork requirements. This is something that Republicans are doing. It's death by 1,000 cuts, because what they're doing is requiring the Medicaid patients to check in every 6 months with their eligibility, whether it's on work requirements or other things. And they're hoping that people will just drop off because they can't keep up. And what they're trying to do is to take Medicaid away. Medicaid is the reason they can go to the doctor, get a cancer screening, fill a prescription, or live in a nursing home. And if this wasn't cruel enough for the people who lose Medicaid this way, Republicans are blocking them from buying coverage on the ACA marketplace as a punishment. Yeah.
Shame on them.
That's not fighting fraud, it's punishing everyday Americans to free up money for billionaire tax cuts. But we are not standing for this. We're fighting back.
Yeah.
The Trump administration is hoping to wear us down by moving so fast that they hope we give up. But with the help of everybody here today, we will not let that happen. We will not stand idly by. We will fight the devastation that Trump has brought upon us. And now I would like to turn it to my incredible colleague from Los Angeles, Congressmember Linda Sanchez.
Good morning, everybody. I am Congresswoman Linda Sanchez, and I am proud to represent hardworking families in LA and Orange County. And as a senior member of the Ways and Means Committee, I am here today with my Democratic colleagues to call out the Republicans' latest attack on working Americans. They've come all the way to California to try to convince us that their so-called one big beautiful bill is going to be good for working families. But please don't be fooled by that. Because behind that shiny little name, although I like to call it the one big steaming pile of crap, is a massive tax giveaway to the ultra-wealthy, plain and simple. Republicans are on this kick of telling everybody, oh, this bill is really going to help the middle class, and they'll tell you that it's about lowering taxes for working families. But the truth is that this bill is the largest transfer of wealth from people who have the least to those who have the most. It's a tax cut for billionaires paid for on the backs of working families. As Judy mentioned, this bill kicks 17 million Americans off of their health insurance. It cuts funding for critical programs like Medicare and Medicaid, and it takes food away from hungry families and raises energy prices on families that are already stretched thin. So while the Republicans tell you on the one hand, hey, we're giving you a tax break, on the other hand, what they're doing is they're taking much more away from you. Right. So they're giving you crumbs, and they're telling you, they're patting you on the head and telling you that they're giving you something, but they're taking away much, much more. Lies. It's not a plan for working families, it's a slap in the face for working families. And the worst part is they just can't be honest about what's in it. In the hearing, you're going to hear them talk about the so-called no tax on tips provision. But what they don't tell you is that tipped workers still pay payroll taxes, which hit low-income workers the hardest. And the benefit also only applies to the first $25,000 on tipped income, and only to those who itemize their deductions, which most low-wage workers don't do. So what does that really mean? It means that tipped workers really aren't going to see a dime of relief. It's bullshit. Thank you for coming. It's just a political gimmick. It's a political gimmick. And to add insult to injury, that small relief that they're patting you on the head and telling you it's going to be so great, that vanishes in just a few years. But you know what doesn't vanish? The permanent tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires.
That's right.
In committee, Judy Chu offered to change an amendment to the bill to say that people making over $10 million won't get this tax cut. And they voted it down because they want billionaires and millionaires to get a permanent tax cut, and they want working families to get nothing. This bill is cruel, it's dishonest, and it's deeply, deeply unfair. It gives more to the ultra-rich by stripping health care, food assistance, and essential services that go to children, seniors, and people with disabilities. Well, Democrats are here to tell the truth. We are here to hold the Republicans accountable for this awful, awful bill. We're not going to let them get off scot-free, patting each other on the back, telling each other how great they are to help working families. Republicans aren't here to stand up for working Americans, but me and my Democratic colleagues are. Yes. And with that, I'm going to introduce a great colleague from Los Angeles County as well. We're honored to serve with him on Ways and Means, Representative Jimmy Gomez.
Thank you so
so much. First, let me just thank everyone for being here. I represent downtown LA, the east side of Los Angeles. And I know a lot of you have been showing up day after day, week after week since the raid started in LA County, really terrorizing the people of Los Angeles, targeting them not based on any probable cause or reasonable suspicion, but just based on the idea of the color of their skin, the job they do, or the language that they speak. And all of a sudden, after that court ruling, have you seen as many raids? No, because they can't go after people. But I said, if they don't have that justification of just who they are. So that's what this is about. And I find it ironic that we're having this hearing, so-called hearing at the Ronald Reagan Library. Where on his last speech, he really talks about the contributions of immigrants and how it is one of the only places on earth that people come here and you can be American. But they're not going to talk about that, right? We're going to talk about their big, ugly billionaire bill to say that it's actually good for working people. In the end, no matter how much bullshit they spew, the facts on the ground will be people are going to lose their health care. People are going to struggle. People are going to be paying more and more and more. And they're going to keep trying to talk about it. But you know what? No matter how much lipstick they stick on a pig, it's still a pig.
Still a pig.
And Shiny, you know what?
So, but this is real people, right? I know that Planned Parenthood announced a lot of some of their clinics in Northern California are going to close. Those clinics don't. It's not all abortion services. It's all preventative health care. Preventative care.
That's right.
I know somebody who ended up passing away from cervical cancer, but she couldn't get seen by her own doctor. So where did she go? And she had insurance. She couldn't get an appointment, so she went to Planned Parenthood. So Planned Parenthood is going to shut down in Northern California. Hospitals and clinics are going to try to figure out how long they can last. So that means that people who don't have a comfort going to normal doctors that don't speak their language, right, or cultural comfort in their background, they're going to stop going. And I already had stories where somebody was questioning if they should start dialysis treatment because they don't want to get deported. And here's the thing, you cannot live without your kidneys. Right? So now you're going to have more and more of these clinics closing and struggling.
That's right.
And that means that's not going to just cost us money, and then when they end up in the emergency room, it's going to cost people their lives.
That's right.
So I'm glad you're here to kind of spread the message, but there's a reason why the Republicans picked Nevada, Las Vegas. They're trying to sell their big ugly bill, but in the end, they don't invite anybody in. There was almost like 20 seats from the public. They were almost hand-selected. They keep the press and the public out. So when I challenged the chairman yesterday, the Republican chairman, hey, let's do a real hearing. We'll pick a district out of a hat. We will divide it, a third Republican, a third Democrat, a third independent, and let's have a real debate about this bill. Yes. Crickets. Because they know that they can't defend this unless it's a controlled environment. So thank you all for being here. And with that, and we know there's a lot of problems that we have to face. Everything from the housing crisis, affordability crisis, to healthcare, to climate change. And yes, we still believe in climate change, right?
Yes. That's right.
No matter where you live, the harsh realities of climate change are hitting hard. But with that, I'd like to kick it over to one of my colleagues who we work on a lot of housing issues together. I represent Representative Steve Forsberg from Nevada.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to be with you. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada. Came over, but you all could have been in a lot of different places, but you're here this morning.
Yes.
You're here this morning to show up, to stand up, to speak up, and to fight back. And there is one big inconvenient truth about this big ugly bill. It screws America. It does not uplift working people. It hurts the very people that we should be fighting for.
That's right.
Taking away health care from 17 million Americans doesn't help the middle class. Taking away food from needy children and seniors doesn't help the middle class. There's very little in this bill that addresses one of the biggest priorities that middle class families face, and that's housing affordability.
Yes.
Housing is going up. The cost of housing is going up. Rent and the ability to even afford to buy a home. Groceries are going up. Childcare is going up. This president, the felon, promised that he was going to focus on reducing costs. His policies have caused the direct opposite to happen. Now, we had a hearing yesterday in Las Vegas. They wanted to bring out people and talk about this no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. Well, before I went to Congress, I led the largest job training program, the Culinary Training Academy. I work with tip workers. I know how hard tip workers work. And I agree they should keep more of their hard-earned money. But why would they cap it for tip workers and not for billionaires?
Right.
Why do they limit it temporarily for tip workers for 3 years and give permanent tax breaks to billionaires? This is the hypocrisy. This is the big inconvenient truth about their bill. It is a bait and switch, and we are not going to accept it. That is why we are here. Another important issue is, in Nevada, we are literally the leaders in solar development. California, you guys get a lot of your solar from Nevada. And my district covers 50,000 square miles. We're doing a lot to produce more solar energy. And when Democrats were in charge, we made sure that addressing the climate crisis was at the top of the priority list, along with health care and relief for families. Well, in this big ugly bill, they sunset the investments on clean energy. That's going to drive up the cost of utility bills. It's going to affect our environment by increasing CO2 emissions, and it's going to cost us 3.5 million clean energy jobs. So that is why we are here to tell Republicans on this committee to stop capitulating. We're here to show up, to stand up, to speak up, and to fight back. Actually, we're honoring the anniversary for fighting for disabilities for individuals with differing abilities. And I want to recognize Judy Mark, the president of Disability Voices United, and to congratulate you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Judy Mark. I'm president of Disability Voices United. We're a California-based organization representing millions of Californians with disabilities and their families. I am also a person with disabilities, and I have a 28-year-old son with autism who relies completely on Medicaid for his health care and the roundups he requires. It is ironic that the chair of the House Ways and Means Committee had the cojones to have a hearing today to tout his big horrible bill on the exact day that we mark the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Shame. Shame.
5 years ago today, a Republican president signed this historic civil rights law meant to ensure equal access and opportunities for people with disabilities. Despite this milestone, there is little cause for celebration. Instead of honoring the progress of the ADA, we are once again fighting for our survival. People with disabilities are now facing a full-scale assault, with our government stripping away our essential services and undermining our inclusion. When this committee and Congress voted just weeks ago to cut $1 trillion, let me make that clear. When the Congress voted to cut $1 trillion in Medicaid funding, they sent us a chilling message. Disabled people's lives and our hard-won rights are disposable. We feel betrayed by a country that promised to protect us from discrimination in schools, at work, and in the community. Those promises have now been broken. Cutting Medicaid isn't just cutting disabled people's health care and services, it is cutting our lives short. We are here today to say we are not disposable. Our rights are not negotiable. Our rights are not up for debate.
That's right.
And we will not stay silent, and we will not forget.
Ooh. Yeah.
The leader of the Indivisible in Seeing Nevada.
Hi, everyone. As she said, I'm Leanna Brand, head of Indivisible, and we're here with a lot of Indivisibles. And we're here to object to the big, horrible bill. As a gig worker and self-employed musician, I would not have been able to afford health insurance were it not for the Affordable Care Act. When that subsidies ends, it will be the most devastating cut to health care in history. And it's estimated that people in California, their health care will rise as much as 66%. And that's this January. The Congressional Budget Office predicts that 600,000 Californians will drop their insurance because of affordability issues. 1 trillion cuts to Medicaid will mean that California will lose $28 billion and 2.5 million Medi-Cal recipients in California will lose coverage.
Shame.
Chairman Jason Smith thought that it would be a great idea to come here to the Reagan Library in California to try and convince us that this horrible bill will be great for us. He thinks we're that stupid. We're not stupid. We're not stupid. The health care cuts are devastating. And the enhanced ICE funding, especially here in Ventura County, will add more thugs to our streets and terrorize more of our neighbors while leaving our farmlands completely devoid of workers.
Shame. Shame.
The meager tax cuts for people like me, like working people, like no tax on tips and the Social Security things are temporary and will provide very little relief for us in the short time that they're in effect. We are not fooled by this. They're permanent for the billionaires. The tax breaks are permanent for the billionaires, but temporary for people like us. And to crow about these tax breaks, while cutting funding in California for green jobs, damaging our climate and our economy. On top of that, they're adding trillions of dollars to the national debt. So what we are getting, we're getting less services and $3 trillion more in debt. This bill is not beautiful. It is not a beautiful bill. This bill is ugly and deadly for us.
That's right. That's right. Shame.
Shame on them. And it demonstrates that people who voted for it don't care about working people like us. And they certainly don't care about anyone in California. So thank you. I'll turn it back now to Congresswoman Chu.
Thank you, you incredible speakers. I really appreciate you coming out. But now we have to go into this hearing, which starts at 9 a.m. and listen to all this BS about this
Propaganda.
big, ugly bill. But I can tell you, my colleagues, my Democratic colleagues and I are going to raise our voices and fight back.
Fight, fight.